aviation. Call today, 861-7484.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
All right, 5 minutes after 11 o'clock. Let me tell you what I do in the morning. I wake up and get ready. I come in here very early in the morning. It's still dark out. I make a cup of coffee, and I go online and I look for the latest news, because that's what we want to bring to you as listeners. We want to bring you the most recent news that is out there. And, most of the time it's not stuff you want to hear, because news is not always good. But once in a while it is. I can't wait till the day that I come in here, get my cup of coffee, turn on the computer, and find out that there's been a cure for cancer.
Yes.
I can't wait till the day I give you that news. There are people working to make that day happen. On the phone, Louis J. DeGennaro and Loriana Hernandez-Aldama are on the phone. Louis is the president and chief executive officer of the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, and Loriana is an acute myeloid leukemia survivor and a former television news anchor. So I'm guessing she did the same thing every morning or whatever time she went to work, hoping for that story. So let's talk about that. The latest advances in cancer research. Good morning to both of you. What an honor. Thank you.
Good morning. What an honor.
Hello, Larry.
Are you both in the same place?
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
Where are you?
We're in New York City.
New York.
Nice.
I say it with a Texas accent.
I'm from New York. I can't wait to go back. Yeah. So tell me. I love it here too. So don't hurt me. But anyway, so thank you. How are you doing, Loriana? How are you doing?
I'm so honored and happy to be alive, and I'm very grateful. But I always tell everyone I'm alive and broken because of the type of treatment that I had to have. But that was the only option that I had. And through TV, as you know, we all put our reporter hats on, and we always find so many causes to support. I knew when everything seemed to spiral out of control and I was hospitalized for an entire year for my battle, that the story was bigger than me, and I had to find purpose because I had so much depression. And the purpose is to go out and help find a cure that someday is today with the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. And so while I have depression, PTSD, bone pain, joint pain, I have a long list I don't want to bore you with, but it is because the chemotherapy, the treatment that is available right now for AML, acute myeloid leukemia, is so very toxic. And the more fit you are, and I was very fit at the time, the more chemo they can give you. So they were able to save my life, but then they leave you damaged. And not to take away, I'm very grateful because there's so many people who lose their lives, but my goal and my mission, and this is why I've aligned myself with LLS, is that we want more people to survive, and those who do survive to have a better quality of life, and we want a cure.
So is there a better option than what you had to go through?
Well, they're working on it, and that's...
Yeah, so this is Dr. DeGennaro. Stories like Loriana's is what inspires us at the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. We're focused on finding new treatments, less toxic treatments, and being certain that patients like Loriana have access to life-saving treatments. And I can tell you we're making tremendous progress. The American Society of Clinical Oncology meeting just wrapped up, and one of the advances that got talked about a lot there is something called immunotherapy, using the patient's own immune system to find and attack their cancer. And if successful, and it's been very successful in the blood cancers, this treatment could replace the toxic chemotherapy that Loriana had to have, and provide an option that doesn't have as many side effects as that chemotherapy. We really are going in the right direction.
I like to the analogy I like to give is that you hear in TV, you may hear of an overnight sensation, and you're saying, oh, they became a celebrity overnight, when in fact that person, you talk to them behind the scenes, they say, oh no, I've been working really hard for 20 years for this time on stage. And that's how I feel about the work that LLS is doing. My doctors tell me they really put their money where their mouth is, and an LLS-funded study actually helped save my life 10 months into transplant. And I know that they're just on the cusp to something big happening. And as my doctor said, look to LLS, put your support behind them, because if you don't have a cure yet, which I know it's soon, at least it can buy you time. And when you have a 5-year-old son asking you every day,
gosh, yeah.
And
you want time.
And the catch-22 to this whole thing, to finding a cure, is that the people have to have the cancer, so that can be studied in order to possibly get the cure.
Well, what we know, at least with the blood cancers, so these cancers tend to occur later in life. And, I think the good news is we're all living longer. But sadly, the longer we live, the higher the likelihood we might get one of these diseases. And that's why the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society is so focused on finding treatments, so that when a patient like Loriana is diagnosed, their physician can look back at them and say, I've got an effective treatment for you.
I'm guessing that the feedback you get from the patients, Louis, is part of how the medication and the treatments evolve. Because if you don't know what Loriana went through, then you don't know that you need to do something different. And Loriana, your skills as a spokesperson, somebody who can articulate what's going on, and from a first-person perspective, I mean, that really is an awesome contribution.
I've been very transparent throughout my treatment over social media, and a lot of people during the time said, hey, your message is a little depressing. I said, no, but it's the truth. And as a reporter, we're trained to find the truth and dig for the truth and give answers to the public. And I felt like that was my purpose. It was the biggest story I'd ever covered in my career. And I felt like I had no other thing to do but to tell the truth to everybody.
Yeah, what an assignment you had, huh?
Yeah, I actually did. And, I would mention to both of you, you're probably involved in a lot of causes as a radio or TV personality as I was. And ironically, 10 years prior to my diagnosis, I ran a marathon for Team in Training. And at the time, I really didn't understand what the Leukemia Lymphoma Society was. I'm like, oh, it's a blood cancer. It's a good cause. I'm going to burn calories. And in hindsight, to look back and see that I actually helped fund my own fight was pretty fascinating. So I want people to know that my story could be your story or anybody else's story.
Right.
Tomorrow you could wake up and get that diagnosis.
So are you doing the radio tour right now to give information about treatments or about options? What is the tour about? And is there a website that'll help our listeners learn more?
Yeah, we're really here to get the message out about how important continuing to fund research is, about the advances that are being made. And yes, there is a website and a phone number I'd like to give you. So the website is the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society website. It's lls.org. And certainly if any of your listeners are patients, we can help you right now. And they should call us, 800-955-4572.
I'm going to ask a sensitive question. I don't mean to offend local doctors, but are there parts of the country that provide better care for a cancer patient than other parts?
It's a very, very good question, Larry, and an important one. These blood cancers, leukemia, lymphoma, myeloma, they're relatively rare, and so I give advice to patients. I give two pieces of advice to patients. The first piece of advice is to always get a second opinion, and the second piece of advice is get to an oncologist who is an expert in the kind of cancer that you have. That way you can assure the best treatment possible. And Loriana, I think, can validate that. I will
validate that because everybody I met at Johns Hopkins was there because they were misdiagnosed. And something that I learned is even if you like the first opinion, I went to a doctor a few months prior because I was tired, but what morning anchor isn't tired with the hours we would keep?
Right.
And they said, oh, you're healthy, you're a fitness reporter, there's nothing wrong with you. So my message to everyone is get a second opinion even when you like the first.
Oh, wow. You never heard it that way before, but that is so true. Yeah, you knew something was wrong, and you figured the doctor got it wrong that you were good.
Yes, a fertility doctor diagnosed me, not an oncologist. So it goes to show you pay attention to your body, get regular blood tests, and that will be really the way to look into your body and find out what's going on.
And this might have been one of the issues that came up at the American Society of Clinical Oncology annual meeting that was just held. I mean, you have to have all of the doctors coming together to address all of these issues, but be aware of what the patients are feeling.
Yes, and it's why meetings like this are so important, so that physicians can share their experience and make certain that patients get the best treatment possible. Again, the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, that 800 number I gave you, we have medical professionals there that can help guide patients to the right doctor, to the right treatment, to the right place to get that treatment. And by the way, we even have financial aid for patients. So, cancer patients face a lot of challenges. You heard it in Loriana's story.
Yeah.
Physical challenges, emotional challenges, even financial challenges. The Leukemia and Lymphoma Society is here to help.
Thank you for what you've done. We've recorded this interview. We'll put it up on YouTube and Facebook, and if you rewind it, you'll hear the 800 number again. We're out of time, but Dr. Luis DeGennaro, Loriana Hernandez-Aldama, thank you both so much. Loriana, do you still have a TV?
Saga?
Do you still have a TV gig?
No, because I'm too tired, but this is my new gig. I'm public speaking and whatever I can do, but if you can tag at LLS USA and at Loriana Armor Up, we would love to be tagged so we can continue to share whatever you're posting.
Okay, excellent. That sounds awesome. Thank you for being on the air. I'm glad we can do that. I'm glad. Thank you both. All right, we are going to take a break. We'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. For Thursday, intervals of clouds and sunshine with a couple of showers and thunderstorms in the area, high 81 to 85. Partly cloudy Thursday night, low 67 inland, 72 at the coast. For Friday, intervals of clouds and sun and warmer. Watch out for a heavy thunderstorm in the afternoon, high 84 to 88. For Saturday, clouds, some sun, warm but humid with a thunderstorm or two around, the high 86 to 90. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Hi, I'm Seth with AA Lock, Dock, and Security. Have you ever thought about the locks or security on your house or business? Have you ever wondered why the keys to your new car cost so much? Well, at AA Lock, Dock, and Security, we can help with securing your valuables. We can even replace those expensive transponder keys. We can give you the knowledge that no one else will.